So, hallo, da sind wir zu unserem zweiten Teil des Let's Plays zu What Remains of Edith Finch. Wir waren jetzt gerade in Mollys Zimmer, hatten uns ihr Tagebuch ein bisschen angeguckt und dann schauen wir mal, was es noch so in diesem Haus zu entdecken gibt. Können wir jetzt lang?
I can't describe it, but I felt like some part of Molly was still here.
Nee, da geht's auch nicht raus. Müssen wir jetzt wieder... Nein, hier geht's auch nicht lang. Ah, das Fenster. Okay, wir können also auch wieder zum Fenster klettern.
This will be obvious later, but my mom never told me any of these stories. Edie would have, but Mom didn't like bringing up the past. Though, when we adopted a stray kitten, she was the one who named it Molly.
Ah ja, hier geht's also wieder rein.
I spent a lot of time in Great-Grandma Edie's room.
Auch wieder alles sehr vollgestellt. Vogelkäfige. Da. Wieder des Frosches. Und Lurpy. Rob. Purpley. Bob die Schlange. Burpee, Vogel. Wie ist das? Darpy. Burpee. Ja gut.
Louis died a week before we left, but Edie had already started to memorialize him. Edie knit me a new pair of gloves every year, just in time to replace the old ones. Her room was like a museum. For 500 years, the Finches have been famous throughout Norway for their fortune and misfortune. Odin Finch buries the latest victims of the family curse, his wife Ingeborg and their newborn son, Johann.
Ah, ein Familienfluch. Deshalb sterben die Leute so früh.
On January 7th, 1937, he set sail with his family and his house, hoping to leave the curse behind.
Auch eine Möglichkeit. Einfach gleich mal das ganze Haus mitnehmen.
But 40-foot waves off the coast of Washington send the house and Odin to the bottom of the sea.
Erstaunlich, dass sie überhaupt so weit gekommen sind.
Odin's daughter Edie, with husband Sven and baby Molly, step ashore on their new home, Orcas Island. Odin Finch is the first to be buried in the new family cemetery. His daughter Edie is already dreaming of a new Finch house.
Okay, wie kommen wir jetzt hier wieder raus? Ah, so, okay.
Whatever's wrong with this family, it goes back a long ways.
hier? Norwegische Volksgeschichten.
When Edie told people Sven was killed by a dragon, she could also have said he was building a dragon-shaped slide that collapsed. She could have, but she didn't.
Klingt ja auch besser, wenn man sagt, er wurde von Drachen getötet. Built in 1937. Sven Finch. 72 Jahre alte Frau weigert sich, evakuiert zu werden, wegen eines kleinen Waldbrandes.
One summer, they evacuated the island, but Edie refused to go. For a few weeks, she was a celebrity.
Und lauter VHS-Kassetten. Was haben wir da? Sam Photo Award, Conspiracy Now, Sam Medal Ceremony, Home Movies, Weird America, The Finches, My Friend Bigfoot. Was auch immer. Ediths Interview. Achso, Channel 7 bestimmt, oder Channel 4. Random Junk. Und Ediths.
I hadn't thought of myself as Edith Jr. for a long, long time.
Noch ein Zeitungsartikel.
Edie gave a big interview about a mole man living under the Finch house. My mom was furious.
Ja.
Even in her 90s, sometimes Edie seemed a lot younger than my mother.
Oh, okay. Das muss man auch mögen. Sehr interessanter Boden.
The only trace Grandpa Sam's first wife Kay left on the house was the pink bathroom. It was a pretty big trace.
Wieder ein abgeschlossenes Buch. Gibt es noch irgendwas? Nein. Okay. Dann mal sehen, wo diese Tür hinführt.
There's a secret in this bathroom. It's in the last place you would look. It isn't in the cupboard. It's hidden in this book.
Und wieder ein kleiner Geheimraum. Wofür auch immer die so viele Geheimräume brauchen.
Sven gave Sam an old camera he'd refurbished. He never put it down.
Calvin Finch, born April 25th, 1920, died September. Ja, ein kleines Fotolabor hier im Geheimraum hinterm Badezimmer. Milton war auch hier. Fort Calvin. Alles sehr interessante kleine Räume hier. Und Sam, ah ja.
I knew Grandpa Sam had a twin. And that he never talked about him.
Dann Gehen wir mal ins Kommandozentrum.
I guess my grandpa didn't like history any more than my mom did.
11 Jahre alt geworden. Mhm.
How I Want to Remember My Brother by Sam Finch. The thing I remember is that when he made up his mind, that was it.
Joking.
My brother said he'd die before he ate another mushroom. And he did. At Barbara's funeral, we swore we'd never be afraid again. And he wasn't. I think Calvin always wanted to fly.
Sam! Calvin! Dinner's ready! Coming!
But that day, he finally made up his mind to do it. I told him going around was impossible. Maybe if I hadn't said that,
Calvin! I'm not gonna tell you again!
maybe if the wind hadn't picked up, then maybe he'd still be here. But I doubt it. I think he'd already made up his mind. That's what I want to remember about my brother.
Na, gleich ein bisschen rum sein. Jawohl. Und nochmal. Jetzt haben wir aber genug Spiel.
The day he made up his mind to fly.
Und Abflug.
And he did.
Calvin's story felt strangely familiar. When I was younger, I remember trying to do the exact same thing.
Und wieder was über ein Familienmitglied rausgefunden. Weiter
After the
geht's.
funeral, Edie roped off Calvin's half of the room. Mom said Grandpa Sam enlisted at 18 and never set foot in the room again.
Hoch. Aber für ihn zu gehen, okay. Da ist noch was. Hallo? So. Aber um vom einen Zimmer zum anderen zu kommen, alles
The
schon ein
passages
bisschen
were a pretty
unpraktisch.
tight fit. They'd obviously been built for smaller hands and bellies.
Und hinten war auch hier. Na gut.
Growing up, I always thought of Barbara as a child star.
Das hat man vorhin ja schon gesehen, dass sie anscheinend was mit Filmen zu tun hatte. Oha, so eine eigene Actionpuppe.
I never thought about how hard it must have been for her afterwards.
Dreadful stories.
Of all the stories people wrote about Barbara's death, I'm surprised Edie saved this one.
Old Jack here with another ghastly tale. inspired by America's most unfortunate family. I'm calling it The Surprise Ending of Barbara Finch. As a child star, Barbara was famous for her scream. Now at 16, she was all washed up, a has-been. But in a lucky break, she'd been asked to perform her signature scream at a local convention for monster movie fans. It was just the boost her career needed. Unfortunately, her scream hadn't aged well.
Getting better. I think you just need the right motivation.
Her biggest fan and current boyfriend, Rick, was about to demonstrate when...
Now that was a great scream.
It was Barbara's father, Sven. He'd slipped into a table saw and had to be rushed to the emergency room. So Barbara got stuck babysitting her youngest brother, Walter. Her convention comeback was cancelled.
Okay, I'm hearing frustration, but I'm not hearing terror. What if I tried...
A gang of hoodlums in Halloween masks have been terrorizing Orcas Island tonight. Police are urging residents to...
That came from the basement.
You're right! Also, I loved your delivery on that. Why is your basement door locked?
Because my dad likes making puzzles and secret passages. There's a key hidden in the music box. The secret is to keep winding and winding until finally the key pops out.
Thanks, babe. I'll be back in a sec.
20 minutes later, Rick hadn't returned. So Barbara went to look for him, right on cue. She reached for the music box. And as she wound the key, she listened for Rick, but the house was silent. She found Rick's crutch and imagined the worst.
Blutiger Handabbruch.
The gang's
What
leader
number
is the
group?
infamous Hookman killer, Dr. Carl Hamill, who impaled and then ate his family 10 years ago tonight.
Ja. Dann läuft man natürlich weiter hier durch den Keller, wenn man was hört. Ah ja. Das war wohl Papa. Mal sehen.
The old fridge rattled and grew still.
Ja, das hat er sich auch verdient.
Rick?
Barb, relax. I was just trying to scare you to help you find your scream.
Well, I'm not scared, Rick. I'm furious.
Then act furious. All I'm getting from you now is that you're hurt and confused and you...
She threw him out, but she kept a little something to remember him by.
Barb, have you seen my other crutch?
And she was still holding it when she fell asleep watching the late picture show. Hours later...
Barbara! Walter, what's going on up there? Ah! Okay, I'm coming up, but if this is a trick, you're dead, Walter.
Ich mag ja diesen Look mit diesen interaktiven Comic-Panels hier. Ist schon ganz nett gemacht.
his bedside radio was still on.
Orcas Island police describe the man as 6 feet tall, with a steel hook for a hand. Residents are urged to lock all doors and windows and notify the police of any suspicious activity.
Uh-oh.
Barbara turned, saw the hook man, and was speechless. He was quite smashing. And there he was. He couldn't get enough of Barbara.
Okay, Barbara. There's gotta be another way out of here.
That night, she played her part beautifully. She thought about abandoning Walter, but just couldn't do it. Molly's door hadn't been opened in years. The hinges groaned. He wasn't moving, but she sensed the story might not be over yet.
Und wo ist eigentlich weitergeblieben? Das war ja
The
klar.
hookman had vanished. She listened for his breathing, but all she heard was... At the door, she heard whispering. It was coming from inside the house.
Oh dear.
The monsters had come to surprise her. For Barbara, it was a dream come true. Then she saw what kind of monsters they were, and she realized what was about to happen. She was going to be famous. And with her final breath, Barbara Finch gave the performance of her life.
Wieder eine sehr merkwürdige kleine Geschichte.
But I hear Barbara was magnificent. Poor girl. She had a taste for stardom. But unfortunately, so did her fans. Of course, the police blamed it all on poor Rick, who disappeared the same night. And little Walter? Hiding under his bed the whole time. He took it all pretty hard, but that's another story. As for Barbara, tucked inside the music box is all they ever found of her. Her ear. Now that's what I call a real eerie tale.
Edie told me all Barbara wanted was to be remembered, as absurd as that comic was. Maybe what Edie saw was a happy ending.
So, und damit sind wir auch wieder am Ende dieser Aufnahme und wir sehen uns dann beim nächsten Mal an dieser Stelle wieder weiter.